Good evening, I'm Kevin Christopher.
And I'm Haley Harmon, in tonight for Nancy Cox. Thanks for joining us at 6. Well, first it was Chick-fil-A, but now a stomach bug affecting some 150 hungry shoppers has forced Lexington's Fayette Mall to close the entire food court.
Kylan Mills spoke to health department officials this afternoon who explained what they're trying to do to try to stop the spread of the illness. And she's live at the mall with a big story at 6. Kylan?
Kevin, Haley, good evening to you both. The health department says they believe a stomach virus is causing all of this. They do not believe that hepatitis A is to blame or that food contamination is a possibility either. Either way, though, they are taking precautionary steps. They have closed down and roped off the food court here inside of the Fayette Mall, and that's because workers are working hard to deep clean everything in that area. The mall released a statement saying all tables, chairs, floors, and restrooms are being sanitized. The health department says the first illnesses connected to the mall were reported on Thursday of last week. Then Chick-fil-A contacted the health department and self-closed on Friday because a number of their employees called in sick. Health officials say since then, roughly 150 people who ate at the mall food court have reported getting sick. They say symptoms include nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Shoppers at the mall today say they were caught off guard by the whole situation.
Because I just was going to leave how we came in, but it was all taped off with caution tape, so we had to go another way. I just kind of thought they were cleaning it up, but the caution tape made me kind of like, yeah.
If you ate at the mall food court recently, you're asked to contact your doctor and the health department so they can try to identify this virus. So far, no word on when the food court will reopen. We're covering the news live in Lexington from the LEX 18 mobile newsroom. Back to you.
All right, Kylan, thanks. And some of you watching are still restocking your refrigerator and recharging phones as the power slowly returns to homes all across Kentucky.
Friday's powerful storms knocked down trees, which knocked out power to thousands. Well, now on to the next step. It's cleanup time. That's where we find Conroy DeLuce, who joins us live here in Lexington to begin our Storm Tracker team coverage. Conroy, good evening.
Kevin and Haley, power lines were knocked down by so many fallen tree limbs and branches. Now you're seeing a lot of that same debris coming to dump sites like this one off of Old Frankfort Pike, removing reminders of an unexpected trail of destruction. Trees that stood tall for decades crumpled under Friday's powerful storm. Ripped from the roots, some reduced to debris, were now blocking roads and wiping out electricity. 3 days later, the cleanup continues.
All we did was cut the limbs away, cut the trees away enough to be able to move traffic through. We're now in the process of going back and picking that up and hauling it to this location. This location, behind the old incinerator off of Old Frankfort Pike, is now a dumping ground.
Yeah, this is one tree right here.
Of once mighty trees.
What surprised me is how many whole, just big old trees just seem like they just toppled over from it. That really surprised me.
The same branches littering this lot helped contribute to the massive power outage.
I've been in Lexington through 2 ice storms, and those are somewhat kind of expected. Usually when a high wind type of storm like this, you don't typically see that.
Certainly unexpected, but crews have worked around the clock to not only restore power, but to remove the reminders and to keep traffic moving. The city is still having regular trash pickup this week, so crews are still picking up debris at homes. But if there's an excess amount, you need to contact LEX call at 311. Now, this dump site, which is just off of Old Frankfort Pike near New Circle Road, is going to be open until 8 o'clock tonight and then reopens again tomorrow at 8 a.m. We're covering the news live in Lexington from the LEX 18 mobile newsroom. Back to you.
Conroy, thank you. Well, this morning, Lexington officials and God's Pantry Food Bank helped folks replenish the food they lost during the power outage. People in need stocked up on fresh fruits and vegetables, bread, and snacks at 3 locations. Many people had to throw out all the food in the refrigerator or freezer after it spoiled during the power outage. The program wrapped up at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Now, the brunt of the storm hit Woodford County head on Friday, and so many people there lost power. It's been an arduous effort to get customers back to where they were last week.
LEX 18's Michael Burke continues our Storm Tracker team coverage from Versailles. Michael.
Kevin, Haley, the power remains out on Montgomery Avenue just behind me over my left shoulder. We're told by Kentucky Utilities that will return at approximately 8 p.m. tonight, so that's the new goal. Here on South Main Street, which runs, Montgomery runs perpendicular to South Main, you could hear chainsaws buzzing all day long as downed trees were chopped up and removed. And for one family here on South Main, they were very fortunate to have some helping hands from some very strong young men.
We are very fortunate. We're putting them to work.
Here in Woodford County, cleaning up from Friday's storm damage is literally a team effort.
I had some teammates in need, and I called the guys, and we had a good response. So that's what it's about, like you said, just helping guys in need. The community's kind of in a state of crisis.
More like state of emergency, which was declared here on Friday night. Power remains out in many areas, and South Main won't ever look the same given the damage. Nicole Bricado knows it could have been much worse.
We're fortunate nobody was hurt, and it can all be fixed and replaced.
But that process could not begin without the help of her son's teammates from the Woodford High football team, who are getting things cleared out while learning an important lesson along the way.
You see people out here, going through things, and you take it in, just appreciate what you've got and what you've been given.
And makes you realize that rallying around a teammate is not something they do only on the football field in this community.
No doubt, it's definitely more than just, Friday nights and winning and losing.
And we're back live outside the Bricado household on South Main now, and you can see the damage that was done. Nicole's husband, Mr. Bricado, told me that this will cost thousands of dollars because they still have to get in and get some real pros in to get the big stuff removed, but certainly the help they got from the football team was much needed and much welcomed. Covering the news live in Woodford County from the LEX 18 mobile newsroom, let's send it back to you.
All right, Michael. And cleanup crews in Franklin County also spent today trying to get everything back to normal.
They're thankful they weren't hit quite as bad as other counties, but the storm there managed to set a home on fire. LEX 18's Carolina Buchek has the details.
Franklin County crews cleared the roads, but you can see there's still plenty of debris on the side of them. And you can see these branches actually took down certain power lines, which left many people in the dark this weekend. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and several inches of rain took a toll on Franklin County.
One time we had between 3,500 and 4,000 people without electricity.
Luckily, emergency crews restored everyone's power this morning and made sure the roads were passable. Other than several big trees falling, the worst damage in the county was this building catching fire. Emergency crews are still not exactly sure what caused it to spark, but they say it was because of the storm.
I don't know whether it was a lightning strike or whether the power line blew into the side of the building, but pretty much burned the top off of a fourplex, and we had several people displaced.
And as busy as crews were, the county's 911 center had even more work.
And between the two storms, there were like 160 911 calls and more than 400 just administrative calls.
And even though emergency leaders say they have to clean all of this stuff up, they say other counties in the area were definitely hit harder by the storm, so they consider themselves lucky here in Franklin County. Covering the news in Franklin County from the LEX T-Mobile newsroom. Back to you.
Now, state emergency leaders say at the peak of the storm, there were about 127,000 homes without power. Most of them have since had their power restored.
As we look from Friday and through the weekend, that 70-mile-per-hour wind gust that was measured at the Bluegrass Airport, one of the strongest ever measured in Lexington. We picked up anywhere from 2.5 to about 3 inches of rain over the course of the weekend. So there was a lot of weather going on, and we are in a much calmer mode now, although the storm that caused all this has hung around, but it is in a much weakened state. So you look to the northeast first. You got a dying shower now in Fleming County, a couple more up in Lewis and Mason counties, maybe patches of drizzle around as well. Going up through Floyd into Johnson County over to West Liberty. These are all moving from southeast toward the northwest. We move then from Hazard, and then you look at a couple of showers more to the southern part of Kentucky there. What's interesting with this, okay, so you've got your showers there, Knox over into Clay County, but watch that storm there around Williamsburg. You notice how it doesn't really move while these showers are going that way. What's going on, the low pressure itself, the one that caused all this, has now settled in at about the Knox and Whitley County line, a shadow of its former self, but still meteorologically Kind of interesting. We're going to talk more about what to expect for the next few days. We'll do that for you in a couple of minutes.
Phil, thanks.
Well, 4 golfers came into today's final round of the Barbasol Championship tied for the lead, with a handful of others just a stroke or two behind.
And after all that, in the end, it was the day one leader, Troy Merritt, who earned himself a $630,000 paycheck as the winner of the Barbasol Championship. Charlie's here with the wrap-up.
Hey guys, like you said, it was anyone's trophy today, and it came down to the final few holes with a few birdie putts inches away from sending this tournament to a playoff hole. First, it was Billy Horschel, who sat at 22 under and could have put the pressure on Merritt. If he sunk this putt, he just missed it. Merritt took care of business heading into 18, so Tom Lovelady had a chance. Here's Horschel right here, the putt that could have sent it to a playoff. He doesn't sink it, so Tom Lovelady had a chance. He missed it by inches. You'll see it coming up here. And afterwards, Merritt easily had 2 putts to guarantee himself a victory. He sunk it, so now he has a spot in the PGA Championship and work for the next 2 years. And believe it or not, Merritt was actually doubting himself, wondering if this was the time to move on. He didn't know if he could still compete at this level, and now he will have the chance to compete at an even higher level. So it's Troy Merritt at 23 under. That's your winning score from the Barbasol Championship. Back to you.
All right, Charlie, thank you. Well, Lexington police are asking for your help finding the man who they believe just committed his first burglary before he tries again.
This week's Crime Stoppers is next on LEX 18 News at 6.